Happy New Year's, and I'm back sort of. So I took a long break from studying foreign languages, and I played World of Warcraft again. I think it's the last time that I will do that. Hopefully, right? There's a small possibility I may play Final Fantasy, but if I did Final Fantasy, it would be in Japanese, and that would be a foreign language experience that I could blog about and talk about learning Japanese. So yeah, I would so much love to go back to Asia, possibly Japan or Korea. Um, I don't know. Um, I am going to be stuck here probably for the foreseeable future due to COVID and also because I signed a lease for this crappy apartment that I live in. Yeah. So what am I doing? I'm getting back into Korean. I was kind of considering what language should I do because I had this big break. I could actually just go back to anything. Possibly thinking French. I met a couple some really nice French people playing World of Warcraft, but not playing World of Warcraft anymore. So maybe not do French. I think. I actually purchased a couple books, a couple things I was thinking of doing with that. So that's a little bit of a shame, but I guess the bigger shame is all that effort I put into Korean and then not following up on it, right? So I was thinking, so how do I get back into Korean? Link would be a good option. I always talk about reading is this wonderful way to learn languages. It's worked for me in the past for German, Japanese, not so much. I still read in Japanese, and my Japanese isn't terrible, but I kind of credit for Japanese. I kind of credit reading some, but more I credit flashcards. I credit my having a good teacher when I that was huge, having a good teacher, classmates when I to learn the very basic grammar, and then of course living in Japan. And then after I came back to Japan, I had a Skype partner who was really good about talking to me almost every week, so that was wonderful too. Yeah. So with Korean, I was thinking doing reading. Steve Kaufman talks about it. He's great at languages. He gets all the respect. Seems like a great way to do it. I got on Google Playbooks, you can get lots of Korean ebooks. It is a wonderful resource if you haven't checked it out. And the copy protection is there, but there are utilities available online to remove that copy protection if you want to read that in a different app besides the Google Play app or Adobe. And that's like Link, for example, or like a text-to-speech app if you want to listen to it. That could be another option too. Although you might be able to do that in the Google app, whatever. Anyway, so I was very much going to do reading. I still may do the reading, but then just recently, Matt versus Japan came out with a new video, and I don't know if he's a new friend, his friend, Ken, who's also an excellent Japanese speaker, American, learned it in high school. That seems to be part of the key to being a great speaker of a foreign language. Learn it while you're still young. But he had his method where he learned some basics using Pimsleur in another online course that was a TV series that was online, published by a Japanese company. That got him started, but then he still could not understand anime, which is basically, so he was kind of in the same place that most people are, beginners trying to get into native content. His solution was something I have barely tried. It is to watch the anime or the show with English subtitles on first, and then rewatch it without the subtitles. I never really had the patience to do that. Part of it is because I didn't know how effective it sounds boring, and I didn't know how effective it is. Reading, I've always felt that this is effective. It's boring at times, especially in the beginning. It's very boring right now. With my current level of Korean, reading books in Korean is very difficult and consequently very boring. It can be fun too. Certain parts, of course, especially dialogue. Dialogue is much the difficulty comes down. Dialogue's more interesting anyway. It flows better, and that can be fun and very rewarding, interesting, and addictive to read. That makes me think when I read books, maybe I should not worry at all about the narrative. Just skip it. Go right to the dialogue. That would not be such a terrible thing. I am not so good about skipping, so that would take some discipline. I want to just kind of do everything, go through it, look up all the words, maybe learn all the words, but realize that this is impossible, but at least read them and look them up. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this. For a while when I was doing Link, I actually, because Link is designed so that you'll mark words known or not known, and even possibly rate it 1 to 4. But known versus not known, I kind of turned that off, that feature, as much as possible. I just marked everything known no matter what. And I kind of like that. But I've gone back to doing it using Link the way it's designed, where I mark the words. I don't know how much that seems to be better for me right now. I don't know. Still, everything's kind of experimental for me. I don't really have the great method to learn anything, except never give up. Motivation is key. Yeah. So I have Game of Thrones in an ebook format. I was reading on Link. Really liked that a lot. Harry Potter. I have some other books too. I'm probably not going to try them. I'm going to stick to these two for whatever reading I do. But then I also want to try this new method Ken did. He achieved a wonderful pronunciation and was also able to listen to spoken Japanese. He says within 11 months of doing this. So not quite from 0 to 11 months, because he had the Pimsleur. I don't know how long it took him to do the Pimsleur or the other course, but went from watching anime, not being able to understand anything, and then becoming, he says, rather fluent in comprehension. His story is actually amazing. If you could find that YouTube video, I highly recommend it. I guess at the 11-month period, what he did was he used, and he's just a young guy, like a language exchange app to find some Japanese people to talk to, and got lucky, found a Japanese girl and hit it off with her. He got a Japanese girlfriend he's in Los Angeles or something. Worked out really well, and she was so impressed by his Japanese. Couldn't believe it. Yeah. And then he went to Japan, did all the fun stuff. So yeah, I'd like to do that too with Korean. I did it with Japanese to an extent, but I did not have great pronunciation when I went to Japan. I had very bad pronunciation. It slowly got better over time. When I first got there, people could usually understand me. I found if I was saying something kind of day-to-day stuff, not having like a conversation, like basically like this what you do today, just saying stuff people expect. At the minute I kind of got creative, went off topic, so to speak, then they didn't know the context necessarily when they were talking to me, and the words, my pronunciation, I thought it was okay, but it didn't connect with them. And it was probably Japanese pitch accent, but I assumed it was my face. I blamed my face. I'm like, you can't understand me because I have a white face. All you think is English when you look at me, or you think. I thought, and I think that's a little bit true, but my pronunciation was not so good. And so maybe I could avoid that with this. I don't know. I am not. He was very young too when he did this. I'm not young. I'm very old. Super old. Probably much older than everyone watching this. Yeah. But even so, maybe I can mitigate that and still have a better pronunciation. Actually, but people, I can't pronounce. And when I took a Korean class here in Tucson at a community college, and there was a Korean girl in the class. She was a college student there, not at the community college, but at the University of Arizona. And she was helping out with the Korean class, and she complimented me on my Korean. She said my pronunciation was excellent compared to everyone else, and just was very impressed. But maybe she was being nice. People often are being nice. Yeah. I'm going to give this method a shot. I'm thinking, from what I've only done this a couple nights, and what I'm thinking is that if I watch a whole episode and then rewatch that, then although I remember the episode, the individual parts, a lot of it I'm going to forget a lot of specifics. And because my Korean is very bad, and basically when I watch the Korean, I only understand the most basic of the Korean. Although I will say my listening seems to get better. Like I do pick out more than before, but it's still very bad. So I need it to be the stuff to be very fresh. I think if I do it in 5-minute increments, that might be better, but I'm going to experiment with that, because what might be most effective versus what's most entertaining. What's more entertaining will keep me doing it would be more important. What Ken did was he did it for 8 hours at a time. He was in homeschooled, had all day to do this. And I have like probably 1 or 2 hours currently, depending. On the weekends, I have a whole lot of time, but during the week, it depends on a few nights I might have are better than others, but like 1 to 2 hours total. Yeah, and I'm pretty tired. If I could make it fun, oh, that would be so much better. If it was fun, that would make this a lot better, as opposed to reading on link. It's unfortunately taking discipline. I'm finding that at the end of the day, after I've worked all day, then I've maybe done a workout, because I want to exercise. I want to try to, not be fat and stuff. I'm tired, so it's hard. Anki would be more doable because it's like a habit that you get into and it's a routine. But Anki really gets you it kind of supports you with the immersion. It's like, if you're not immersing, then well, yeah, it's very limited. Progress slows down a lot. So that is where I'm at. I am I'm very interested in Kent's method with the subtitles. Anything I can do to make this whole process as fun as possible would be great. And also, I like it better because instead of, Game of Thrones is kind of good. I need to brush up on Game of Thrones. I read the series a long time ago. I watched not all of the episodes. And that is super, super popular. Game of Thrones is super popular in popular culture still, although less so now that the episodes are coming out, new episodes are not coming out rather, but still popular. But I guess if I could watch K-dramas that are, coming out now, the new stuff, I guess, I haven't had Netflix in a while. Squid Games or something, is popular here. Anyway, just, that would be better, so that once my Korean gets a little better for like language exchanges and stuff, then I can talk about that. So that'd be great. Talking about books you read. Yeah, not so much. Love books, but I don't ever talk about books. Anime also, don't talk about anime. Anime is kind of there with the books. It's there's probably some anime I could talk about, but like Naruto, even you could talk about the anime, I suppose, with the right person and if it were fresh in your mind. But it seems like K-dramas would be better. But I don't know. It seems like Japanese people, some of them watch anime for sure, but most of the normal people, they watched anime as a kid a little bit, they stop. And I'm not sure with Koreans. A lot of the Japanese people want to improve their English, and so they're watching American dramas or maybe British dramas or something. And Koreans might be the same way. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I still think it's better though. Like, just in terms of culture. Ironically, I think I'll be more cultured, so to speak, if I watch K-dramas rather than reading books. Right? Crazy, stupid, whatever. Normal people watch K-dramas. They don't read books. That's where I'm at in my studies. I hope to have an update on my progress, and thank you so much for watching. And the New Year's is always an exciting time. I hope that you're taking this, the New Year's resolutions and the start of a new year, as a way to jumpstart your language studies and to make progress and to have more fun with it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.